board because I've got the wonderful John Freeman with me today. And John and I met on Facebook through a couple of networking groups. I got to see what he was all about, really liked what he was doing, really liked his book, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So I've got John into my group now, which is called the Health and Happiness Hub, which is where we're live streaming at the moment. But I'm also recording this because I'm going to pop it on Instagram and my business page as well, because I think this could be really helpful for a few people, and that's what it's all about, especially right now. And I know John loves to help people too, so that is the way we're going. So hopefully you can hear us okay. I'm just checking it is showing. Yeah, it's all showing us live. So welcome, John, for our first free coaching Friday.
Lovely to see you again.
You, my darling. So this was a little brainchild we had, because I had quite a lot of people say to me, oh, I'd like to find more about X, Y, and Z. And I thought it'd be a great chance to get some coaches, different people that are, sort of at the top of their game in their field, in to just give some tips on things that are relevant to people at the moment. And I think one thing that is certainly jumping out to me at the moment with the people I'm talking to, whether it's from a business background or just personal, is people are feeling a bit overwhelmed. Here we were at the start of the situation we're now hopefully coming to the end of, and people were feeling, sort of quite closed in and whatnot. And now I'm speaking to so many people who are saying, oh, I'm feeling quite overwhelmed just going out the house or getting back to work, or I'm wanting to start my fitness journey again. John is the Stressbuster. That is basically what he's all about. So I think it'd be great to have, get some tips from you now, John. So before I whittle on too much, would you do us the honour of introducing you? Give us a bit of a background about you, what you're all about, so people can get an idea.
Hi, I'm John. I'm the Stressbuster. I come from a background of being very, very stressed. I lived on the edge of sanity for about 40 years. At its worst in the late 90s, I was working 12, 14-hour days, charging all day long, no rest, no breaks, eating on the go, huge temper issues, because if anything slowed me down or stopped me, I would just explode. Because I had to be the most efficient man in the world, and even right down to making a cup of coffee. Everything had to be precise and exact and efficient and perfect.
I was going to say you're a perfectionist as well. That's something that you kind of
very much so. And the trouble was, if it didn't go perfectly, I would just explode. So, if I arranged to meet you and we arranged at 2 minutes past 8, I meant 2 minutes past 8.
Yeah,
so even in social situations, you know what it's like social. I'll see you about, I'll be there half an hour before and freaking out for 30 minutes before you got there, and then you were late. And by the time you came, I was just all moody and miserable and stroppy. And so, I just destroyed any chance of any happiness for just years and years and years. It was awful. I was a terrible timekeeper.
So many people can relate to this, because I was the same a couple of years ago as well. I used to get, I'd burn my bridges so quickly. If someone upset me once, that was it. Forget it,
And I'm still very efficient, but I control it now.
Yeah.
And I use it to my advantage now, to my clients' advantage now. I'm like the shortcut king. I want to do everything the quickest, easiest way we can do it. And I'm still a stickler for timekeeping. Timekeeping for me, I can't stand people being late. I think it's really rude, but it doesn't trouble me anymore. I'm still always the one that's always earliest in the room. I'm always the first one there.
I found for me, I have this little saying that I got from Ray Higdon, which was basically everyone's doing their best. And I just, like, if I know someone's flaky, if I know they're not great with time, I just accept it and I don't try and change them. And
I've always, we've got our books now on our smartphone. I'll sit there, I'll have a nice little read, I'll have my coffee, I'm happy, you arrive when you want. And then, of course, everybody's, sorry, I'm late. It's like, well, get an earlier bus or something.
I know,
so I'm usually the one that's there calm and relaxed and ready to start and chilled. But that's taken, a long time to practice to get to that thing. And I guess that, talking about stress and overwhelm, it takes practice. And if you imagine back when in the day, when I was doing this all the time and everything, and you're losing your temper, so then you're feeling guilty for losing your temper, you hate yourself for losing your temper, and everything's too, you can't stop everything, make a cup of coffee, it's got to be really efficient.
Yeah.
That's habit. It's habitual, and you've got to some point. I talk about putting the brakes on. At some point, you've got to decide that's not who I want to be.
Mm. Mm.
You know, I want to be calm. Okay, then we've got the work to do to change that. But everything starts with a decision,
Oh, absolutely.
always,
Always. Yeah.
doesn't it? And we've got to decide. For me, it's not acceptable for me to live like that anymore. But it
Was
took me
it,
years.
was it like a eureka moment for you, or was it a gradual thing? Because there will be people out there that will be in this place that will recognize what you're saying. Was there
It was,
one moment that you think, oh my God,
you
that?
know, I remember the first time I thought, why is life such a struggle? Why is it so hard for me? I was 15 years old. And that was when I kind of set about trying to change things. But I had these huge, massive trust issues and anger issues, and I hated everybody, and I thought everybody hated me. So of course I behaved in a way that made them hate me because of that. And I had no positive influence on my life, so completely on my own. And of course, what happens is you just keep reinforcing the bad anyway.
Push
So
everyone away, don't you? And
it,
it's
it got worse and worse and worse and it just kept getting worse and worse as the decades progressed. And I used to have these really good friends, and they'd say to me, John, you're really stressed. And I'd be like, no, I'm not, I'm just a fisher. And oh, it's so embarrassing when I think back on it now.
no.
And what an awful way to live. I mean, I was the worst of the worst. I've to this day, I've never seen or even heard of anybody who was stressed as I was.
Mm.
And I lived like that for decades.
Good Lord. And it's such a debilitating thing. I mean, I very
It's just
many years ago,
stupid.
I did a stress management course and went on to do it for just a diploma. It took me a year, I think, when I was living abroad. And it was fascinating to me because, I found out that actually, and everyone probably knows this now, but this was 15 years ago. It was on a CD-ROM. That's how old it was, the course. We don't have CD-ROMs anymore, do we?
Yeah.
But and it was saying that, most people when they go to the doctors complaining of a heart, like, oh, my heart, I feel weird and all this, it's all down to stress. And what then happens is you actually give yourself dis-ease because you are so stressed, and you will actually change the cells within your body, will create dis-ease for you, and you
And
become ill. So it's
stress.
like a cycle, and it's so dangerous.
And I did the same thing. I got interested in stress eventually.
Yeah.
It was a real slow thing. And I did a stress management counselor's course.
Oh, right,
And a year after that, I did my hypnotherapy course. That was the start of everything for me. But yeah, the effects of stress, mentally, emotionally, physically, are massive.
yeah.
And they've done so much research now. Everything is caused by stress. If it's not caused by stress, it's exasperated by stress.
Yeah.
And even from a health perspective, you look at things like, the heart disease and things like that. They're caused by stress because we can't function. We have the body has a natural energy flow through it.
Mm.
And if we hold tension in any part of our body, we stop that flow. And that's going to become our weak spot.
Yeah.
And then we have all these negative emotions inside of us, and they congregate in our weak spots, wherever that is. And that's where we have problems. And to recover well from illness, we need to relax and let go of that stress, to allow that energy to flow through us properly.
Yeah.
Stress is the flight or fight response. So it's a short-term emergency response to fight the saber-toothed tiger, kill it, eat it, sit back and relax, let all the stress go. It's a short-term emergency response.
Not
But
we're
we
not meant to live in it forever and a day like we do.
living on high alert, and I did that for 20, 30 years on high alert.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the thing is that bodily function, that biological function, is to make us like that.
Yeah.
And so that is all we can do. So if you think of it from my perspective, it was lose my temper. I'm ready to fight
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And other people will worry,
Cry or
cry.
emotional. Yeah, exactly.
And
Drink too
and
much, eat too much, all the triggers.
all that stuff. And at some point or other, I talk about pushing our own buttons, and the people that work with me and in my group, I love to push people's buttons, and I push my own buttons, because if we do that, then we can pull up this negative stuff. We force it up by pushing our own buttons, by going against those compulsions we have, which
Yeah.
is the negativity. But the real big thing about stress and understanding it is it's all just one big paradox. So what I find is everybody's moaning about all that, causing their stress, but actually it's all their stress causing all that. It's the other way around.
Definitely. You can, and I find that really interesting as well, because often you'll talk to, I can't remember, was it even in your book or was it in an audio? I can't remember, but it was an example of two guys getting called into a corporate office, and they're both told that they're being let go. They're basically being given the sack, you know, being told to go or whatever. One guy is in bits. The first thing going through his head is, how am I going to pay the mortgage? My wife's going to leave me. The kids won't be able to go to college. I'm going to do all the awful things. The other guy goes, well, this is the move I needed to start my own business. This is, and it's the same thing. Like, you can go through stresses that another person goes through, but they react to it completely differently, because they will not allow it to become a negative.
Stress is subjective. So what stresses you out doesn't stress me out. You know, it's different for us all. But you know, here's the real secret about stress is stress is just our negative reaction to what's going on. And we need to work towards becoming more positive, because we need to chase the negativity out of us. Now, you think back at me, you know, as a child, terribly miserable and depressed and unhappy, and gradually getting worse and worse and worse, until I discovered, 28 years old, discovered there was a difference between a positive and negative attitude, and started actively really trying to make something of myself, and reading self-help books and piling them into me, and listening to the recordings and starting to do all that work. But all I was doing was pushing against all that negativity that I had inside me, and actually getting very little help from outside. So no positive influence, still trying to do it all myself, still like, and all you're doing. And that's where all my stress came from, because I was banging up against my own negative beliefs and feelings about myself. And we've got to clear those out, because so that we can clear the path and shoot through it. And that's where the work is.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think one thing that I loved about your book, there was a saying that came up quite a few times, which I have here, is good feelings equal good things. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, the more you can focus. Now, you know, like, nobody out there is saying, oh, that to somebody who's clinically depressed, this, that, and the other, they should just think positive thoughts and everything will be okay. We're not saying that. You have to take the steps.
You've got to start somewhere.
Exactly. And so, like, what I loved about as well with your book is, near the end, you're talking about how to build a vision of happiness, because John's book basically is called Vivid Visualization, and it's something that, you know, I remember when I first started my network marketing business, and you're taught to, or like, you know, in some businesses, I'll visualize where you want to be in the future. So this could be anything. It could be business, it could be your body, it could be your mental well-being, whatever it is you are told, you know, oh, so visualize yourself in a good place. But where the hell do you start? And that's what I love about your book, is it goes through that step by step. So I'm not sure what tips you want to give today, but maybe that would be a good one, like with overwhelm, because that can be overwhelming. It's like, here you are in position.
Everything's overwhelming, isn't it? I know.
You want to get there.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get from A to Z, I suppose, or A to B?
I did a visualization challenge a while ago, and what I did was get people to create two visions. Get your one big one. Where do you want to be? What do you want your life to be like? You know, get that whole big vision. I want to live in a big house. I want, you know, 100 grand a year, whatever that is for you. I want them cars and that, or happy relationships.
Feeling good with myself.
Don't forget those feelings. You know, it's all about the feeling. When we visualize, when we create, we need the feelings to achieve that. You know, and that's why people can't make affirmations work. They can't make visualization work, and why they give up doing it, because it doesn't work. But the reason it doesn't work is because they don't create the feelings. So when we're doing our visualizations, go straight for the feelings. and cut the corner is another shortcut from me, you know. So think about, how do I want to feel? I want to feel joy, happy, fulfilled, satisfied. I talk all the time about people now as get that sweet smile of satisfaction. That's
Yeah.
what you want out of life, you know. If you got that and you visualize yourself with that, you don't need anything else, because the rest will sort itself out, and you'll get everything in life that will give you that sweet smile of
Magnet.
satisfaction.
It's a smile magnet. You start smiling more, good things happen
It
more.
happens. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, you know, we're getting sidetracked, but walk down the road and force yourself to put that sweet smile of satisfaction on your face, because everything changes. Your mood changes. The universe will change in reaction to you. Your subconscious will open up and start looking for reasons for you to have that smile. Oh, he's smiling. I got to make that happen more, you know? So what I was talking about, the two visualizations is, okay, so now you've got your big one, and write it down, present tense, and keep coming back to it all the time. It's no good doing it today and forgetting it for a week because you get lost in life.
Mm.
You've got to come back to it, because otherwise it's not important enough. You don't really want it, do you? If you're
That's
not coming back thinking about it, writing it down, visualizing it, you know, saying it,
okay.
talking about it.
I get that in my work all the time with business. You know, people start a business and nothing happens. And I say to them, don't feel bad about it. You obviously don't want it enough. That's okay. You don't
You've
have
got to,
to.
you've got to want it really
Then
bad.
then don't beat yourself up about it if you're not
Yeah.
wanting it
And
enough.
that's what happens inside. We have this subconscious mind. And, you know, I talk a lot about the subconscious in the book. And you have a lot of different parts of you inside that all want something different.
Yeah.
The posh people call it congruence. And we have to get all of those parts together. I call it making friends with your subconscious. You've
Yeah.
got to get all those different parts reconciled and serving the same purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
And what you get, if you know, if you've got one part of you thinks I'm no good, I'm worthless, and you've got another part of you thinking I want to be a success, and this was me from 1989 till
Yeah.
about 2 years ago. All you're doing is pushing and pulling in two different. You can't achieve anything, and your subconscious will always meet the need that is buried the deepest.
Yeah.
So we don't know what we're fighting against. And it feels like we're fighting against all that out there, but we're not. We're only ever fighting against ourselves.
That's
So
amazing.
the other, you know, I don't want to get away from the fact that I was talking about the two visualizations. You get your big picture, but then you get your next step. So you're looking at here and you're looking at there. So this is your big all guiding light, but you've got to think about what next. What next? I want one more customer. I want one more client.
Yeah.
You know, I want one more big idea.
Yeah.
I want one more day of joy without feeling miserable and crying all day because I'm depressed.
Yeah.
You know, I want that joy tomorrow. And when you start, so it's about focusing on what you want. This thing here, all about focus on what you want. Because if we keep,
Yeah.
if all we think about is I'm depressed and I'm miserable, and why is life so hard? You know, that question we keep asking ourselves, why is life so hard? Why is that always happening to me? Why am I always crying? I hate this. You know, that's all instructions to the subconscious, to the universe, to everything around us. And all our subconsciouses are talking to each other and we don't even know about it
Yeah.
because we're all up here.
Yeah, I think I totally relate to what you're saying, and it's weird for me because I've always been the absolute opposite to that. I've always been very positive. Like even when I think about some of the really crappy shite things that have happened in my life, I've always managed to come out of it thinking, well, it's not the end of the world. And you know, I sometimes wonder actually if there's something wrong with me because I don't sometimes take things seriously enough. So sometimes I have to grab myself and
You're
think,
a lucky girl.
not always, it sometimes hits me. It's like anything that's buried. You know, I lost my father back in 2003, and for 6 to 12 months I was like, well, you know, just crack on, and then it hits you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right.
And then suddenly you know, it's you know, so it always catches up with you eventually. But what I mean generally in a lot of things, I will naturally focus on the fact that it's going to be okay ultimately, because I'll make sure it is. And also I think for me, my mantra is always, you know, nothing lasts forever, even the good stuff. So take the good stuff and enjoy it. But remember that when the bad stuff is happening, that's going to go as well. So nothing is.
And what happens is when we feel joy and we feel happy, we embrace it. We embrace it. We enjoy it. It's fun, and it seems so fleeting.
Yeah.
And when we get miserable and unhappy, we try to resist it, and it holds on even longer because of that. And then it stays forever, it seems.
Yeah.
And if we can just, it's that human existence thing. If we can just accept the yin and the yang, we know they are both there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the scales, it's the balance, and that's okay.
It's hard sometimes.
And those dark feelings are healings. They're there to teach us to understand ourselves and to heal and to learn and to grow. And the job, well, our job is to get better every day.
Yeah, that's it. It's always learning from everything, isn't it? I think that's the important
thing. It's a
thing.
never-ending journey, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I love that because I've actually just literally about to launch my new coaching, which is called Journey Women, and it's mainly for women. So yeah, journey. Well, it's for women. Otherwise, going to be called Journey Women.
Women on a journey.
And I love that because I think we're always on a journey and we're always learning. So, and I just wanted to say that, sort of before we finish, is that, the first thing anybody watching this can tell how enthusiastic John is, what he's obviously been through. And what is so powerful about you is, and I'm not trying to belittle other coaches out there, is the fact that, you've been through so much and you've been there and you've lived it. And that's probably how you're so able to help people so powerfully with what you do, because you're so passionate about it.
Shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say, if anybody wants to have a chat with John, even if just to sort of see, because you do like all sorts of things, don't you? You can help people on so many different levels. How is the best way for people to get hold of you?
Message me on Facebook is the easy thing to do. Or go to the website. There's a contact form on the website. And actually this week is a really good, may I? This week is a really, really good week to come and get hold of me, because today I have launched the Thriving School.
Oh,
literally today.
That name, I love that.
Isn't it wonderful? I know this has been brewing since October, and I've been ooh about it, and I finally got around to launching it today. And I've launched it for founding members. It is £23 a month.
Wow, that's so.
Or you get, if you pay yearly, you get a month off of that as well. So you only pay for 11 months. That offer is only open until the 7th of May.
Wow.
And then after that, I'm not even going to open it up for 3 months. Then it'll be twice the price.
Yeah. This
thing is going to be magnificent. It's only open for women, the same, because I only work with women. It's for women who are sick of putting on a brave face. And trying to pretend that everything's all right, like you when you lost your dad there, and that really resonated with me, that brave face. And that's what I did. I'm all right. Anybody that looked at me knew I wasn't all right. I was a maniac, but I couldn't see it myself. But if you can see that you need help, I give the best positive support, encouragement, guidance that is available anywhere in the world. No one will look after you with the enthusiasm that I do. And I think that comes from two things. It comes from the fact that I never had any positive influence in my life ever. And oh my God, I needed it. And 2 or 3 people tried. I was so busy being angry, I pushed it away anyway. So I never had that. And also my mum never had it. My mum lost her husband, my dad, when I was 6. She never had another man. She never had a positive influence in her life. And she struggled on her own. I hate to see people struggle on their own because of those two things. So this is a membership where I have a dedicated Facebook group. I've got a membership platform. You have access to hundreds of pounds worth of my meditation recordings as part of your membership. There's a bi-weekly live training and coaching session that we're going to have. And I'm going to create some video courses. And the video courses, are going to be with measurable and provable results.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
you've got to work through them, and you'll only have, each member will only have access to the first, and once they've done the work, they'll get access to the second.
Yeah.
It's all about actually action taking.
Sorry, dog digging in background.
It's for women who are ready to take the daily actions to get out of the rut, ditch their overwhelm forever, and really build their positivity, become unshakable and unstoppable.
That's what
And there's going to be, this is literally the founding members offer. There's almost nothing here at the moment. The founding members, starting on the 8th of May, after the founding member offer finishes, we're going to get together and start talking about what day we're going to have our bi-weekly meeting. What do they want? What's the first course going to be created? And we're going to work together to build this.
Completely tailored, isn't it? Which is
fantastic. It's going to be magnificent. And on top of it all, you're going to have me driving you and pushing you and holding your hand and anything else you need to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah, definitely.
Which at the end of the day is a joyful, happy, sweet life with a sweet smile of satisfaction on your face every day.
Every day.
And it's a massive dream. This thriving school of mine is like it's for women who want to take action.
Yeah. Oh, and they are going to get so much support from you. I just know it. And for anybody else there who, maybe you're not quite ready for coaching yet, although I think all of us should have coaches, but that's just me. Get the book.
Yeah, I know.
Get it on Amazon. Book. Visualization. It's fantastic. So
stereophonic book.
So
you get a free 10-minute, 5-minute recordings with that book as well.
Well, thank you so much, John. I will obviously on wherever it's put up, I will make sure that I tag you in so that you can.
Thank you very much, hon. Always a pleasure chatting to you. We could talk forever, me and you, couldn't we?
I'm sure we'll chat again soon. I'm sure. But
thank
you so much for your time this evening, and I can't wait to get this up on Instagram and Facebook, so lots of people can hear from you. And have a lovely evening, everyone.
Thank you very much. Have a great